That's just like 2 generations ago. So it was about a faith community. And whether you liked everybody in the community or not, it didn't matter. Because you don't like everybody. You don't even like your own family. That doesn't matter. There was this thing about taking care of each other in how we ate, in how we lived, in what we did. And that doesn't happen in every community.
No, it doesn't.
And there's also something about the collective unconscious of the people that live here. And I want to research on the collective unconscious of the African Americans and the Native Americans and the French-speaking Americans, all of us under this umbrella. We all came through some bad stuff. We all came through not having a home.
Mm-hmm.
We were all displaced. And so for us, home is important. And home is so important for us, we like it so much we'll invite anybody to come home. Even if we never met you before. Mm-hmm. You're feeling that now. Mm-hmm. That's a vestige of what is a part of a culture that has nothing to do with the name or the kind of church. Hell, we could have been Jewish people. Mm-hmm. But you live in isolation and you live in family and you have a boucherie and you share the food, or we ain't going to live it. We're not going to make it. Mm-hmm. So it was the isolation that caused us to live in community, and that caused the communities to come together when it was necessary, and then we could be separate if we didn't think it was necessary. But we made it together, so it was community, like faith as a community, faith as not the words. Mm-hmm. And I don't know this, and I don't know how many of you were raised as Protestants, or any of you in this room raised as a Protestant. I used to work in Vermilionville, and one time this lady came to me and she said, "Do you know the difference between New Orleans and Natchitoches?" Like, no. Well, she said, New Orleans is Catholic and Natchitoches is not. I'm like, I had never even been to Natchitoches, you know. She says, the people in New Orleans know God loves everybody, even if you're poor. And the people in Natchitoches think God only loves you if he has blessed you. Now, I don't know what she meant by that, but I got something out of that. And I don't know if that makes sense to y'all. But in the small towns here, it didn't matter if you had a lot or if you didn't have a lot. God loved everybody. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have the puritanic stuff of some of that all-American.
Right.
And we also had kind of a attitude. Like when I was growing up, the men used to go outside and smoke during the sermon or during church while the women and the kids stayed in church. I didn't either, but the old men, older than me, like they could go out and smoke during church, but there was a lot of like double standards for a lot of things. And so just because we all went to church didn't mean we did everything.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But there was this basic feeling that every being had some sense of sacred, and it was your duty to take care of everybody. And so when we had a boucherie, you shared it with your neighbors who also happened to be your relatives. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between who is my cousin and who is my friend, even to this day, because we're so connected. You know, my cousin,